This is FaZe Ropz, one of the most brilliant minds in Counter-Strike.
1 versus 3. They're rushing him quick. There's the first kill. They know where he is, and the swing around he gets one more. That is the mechanics that we were talking about.
Pinpoint precision, his movement, he reads the game very well. He can outshine everybody on the server.
His surgical movement enabled him to run laps around everybody else.
And it's all on this taps it.
Transforming from a kid who just played CS for fun to a professional player overnight.
Ropz is a great example of if you have the talent, you have the skill, there's no boundaries.
Breaking the conventional path of going pro and paving the way for future young players. But Ropz' rise to stardom wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. He faced cheating allegations, worked countless hours, and learned to overcome some of the deepest slumps.
I was thinking, how does he overcome this?
You don't feel confident, so it's like it was demoralizing, like getting like a bit depressed.
Ropz has met every challenge head on, all while changing the game of CS forever.
And that one should be cooked, but there's no time for this. There's no health, there's no hope. Oh, come on!
Don't you dare.
Ropz! Oh!
Have you seen anything like it?
I've never!
This is a story of FaZe Ropz.
Working hard is mostly, in my opinion, just connected to how motivated you are. When I am motivated, I try harder, go over the 100% limit, give 110, just try harder. What separates me from other players, I think, is just knowing the sacrifices and knowing the responsibility you have on yourself.
Once he finds something that he sets a goal that he wants to do and achieve, he doesn't stop until he reaches it. If he knows it's possible, then he doesn't stop until he's made it. You know, I think it's the same with smokes and certain things he wants to find in a game. If he knows it is doable, he will do it.
I view myself always as the guy who can be extremely stable. I like to be the rock, you know, that you can lean back on and is always there for the team. I think throughout my career, I definitely have provided that.
Oh, this is a boost, never seen before.
Yeah, and it does get the
this is
double
shady, this is
from
shady, he
Ropz.
does know!
He doesn't know as Ropz gets the what? That is insane!
It definitely plays into like my own character and personality. I mean, I like to be very calm and provide solutions as much as I can.
When he gives information, he gives it precise, you know.
I just love playing with him, and I think he's well thought through in the way he plays, the way he sees the game.
FaZe is never known for their the structure of the game. We stay consistent, but it's like controlled chaos, I guess you could say. And that's the environment we thrive in. I love that kind of environment. I can provide stability within the chaos.
He works very hard and he finds things that normal people is not gonna find.
He tries to perfect his game as much as he can, and that's one of the many reasons he's so good.
It's getting late night and everybody's getting a little bit tired. He gets full energy.
I've seen him like long jumping, and all you hear in the practice room is like on his keyboard, and it's like 5 hours straight, and it's just like continuously in the background. And I'm like, how the hell do you have the stamina for this shit, you know?
For me, I always try to do everything as optimized as possible. There is a better smoke, you're gonna use a better smoke. And you never know if you have the best smoke or not, so you have to keep searching and have to push the limits in that way. Spend many hours looking for things. When we didn't have practice, like I was creating videos for my team to see like what's new and what I've come up with.
I started doing algebra and for just 2 smokes, you know? He came to practice one day and like, okay guys, I have a bind there, change the sensitivity to freaking 99.782356, and then you press a button and then it flicks and then then you can throw, you know? And it's like...
You can put 6 decimals in your sentence. With all those decimals, you can really calculate like a perfect angle or perfect amount of pixels to skip. You just calculate the perfect amount in decimals and then you have it.
And then they removed us to like the 2 days after, you know, so it was...
For me, I had the most professional working relationship with him as a teammate and ever in CS. Like in the way we talk with each other, we're very serious.
Back even in MOUZ, like we had this idea of like, well, we're in the practice room, let's see who can stay longer.
One of the first talks I with Ropz, he didn't care who came to the team as long as they work hard. And from that day on, I wanted to show him I'm work harder than him. For the first year, we're kind of pushing each other to work harder.
Who's gonna stay longer this day, the next day? Let's see. Like it was like a competition back then, even.
To show each other, like earn some respect. And I think he's very simple man when it comes to that. And I think that's why I had so good relationship with him for a long time.
They activate each other on a different level, I would say.
Most of the time we are only talking very serious about how we can improve this and that. And it's good to have in a team where you just know every time you talk, you are getting challenged by each other's views and therefore you become smarter, both players.
I think it's very clear to my teammates what I can provide. As I said, I do it in a very organized way.
Ropz's role in the pro community is the most mechanical player. Everybody's asking him about his view of the game, the movement. He's very into small details of the game.
Becoming a CS technician, I mean, it's just one of those things that sort of happens. The social media guy at CS, I don't know, we've just been connecting well, and it's sometimes scary because you don't want to be wrong, you know? Obviously, I want everything for the best and for the game to be better and for it to be good, like everyone wants it to be.
I think it's very normal to see him maybe as a guy who really knows the details of the game and the mechanics of the game.
I feel like he's mechanical and technical in almost every aspect of life, right? I think he calculates the way he needs to sleep, the amount he needs to sleep. I don't know, they see him as this robot. That's how I see him sometimes as well, you know, Robot Robin, that's what I call him.
But he has this crazy side of him where he becomes ultra troll world. In some way, he's the one that is the most funniest in the team.
I would describe Ropz as smart player, funny player.
He's a funny guy. He does the same thing as Brooke. He plays jokes on people and, you know, uploads certain pictures to people's desktop.
It's ready.
Yeah, the pranks got too crazy at one point for sure. We with the coach too much. Let's just say he was unlucky at one point.
Look, put it here. No, I'll drop my notepad. Leave the room.
Hi, hello. You ordered the TV. Hello.
Hello.
You ordered the TV?
Yeah.
Like he came to a tournament and his setup was like nowhere to be seen. Like we hid his setup. Yeah, we put it on the balcony outside.
We did every night. So somebody left early from practice room, your setup was like somewhere else, except Finn's. He's not playing until you set it up for him again, right? We have very different personalities, but we're also very similar in we don't complain about stuff. He has a good mind for technical stuff, I would say. I think he's just smart. I don't know if it's from his family or what it is from. He was brought up well in that sense.
My childhood was very traditional. I grew up in a rural countryside place. People in the US would be like, is this even a city? It's like population of 5,000, you know. Being outside a lot, playing different sports. I got into games at a young age. At 1.6, I started playing when I was like 7, probably.
While most would play Counter-Strike the traditional way, Ropz was a little different. He would play a game mode inside his CS called Kreedz. See, Kreedz was much different from the typical 5v5 shooter. It was all about skill-based movement, mechanics, precision, and timing.
Kreedz, I have very deep roots in that community. I played it all the way back in 1.6. It's not about shooting, it is about movement. I got more serious in like 2012, trying to go for records. I was trying to do like long jump records. Even like a few years ago, I actually did tie the long jump world record in 1.6, and it's been pushed even further. I have no plans to do that again. I think those people are way better than me. I'll say that for sure. Getting into Kreedz that early, I think, shaped up my basics in the game and fundamentals. Definitely have like more than 5,000 hours of KZ on 1.6, for example. Surgical movement is definitely linked to my background in KZ. It does translate into competition. I guess like the general flow of how you move and how you peak and how you clear angles.
I mean, I feel like he's just aspiring this surgical movement. I didn't see anything like it, like hard clearing angles, you know, or the way he clears angles, you know, sometimes the way he moves.
Absolutely everything to go for. Quick run, MOUZ is perfect.
Left down to hitting the shots for Astralis.
Oh, I like this move from Ropz.
After spending thousands of hours perfecting his movement in Kreedz, Ropz set his sights on a different CS community, the FPL.
One more mid.
Okay. I think the biggest thing that came with me along to the CS scene was the way I became a pro in 2016, 2017 when I entered FPL and I got known through pugs. It was pretty unheard of, like having nobody know about you and then suddenly play the pugs against pros and just, you know, make them feel like I'm cheating or whatever.
Oh, this Ropz retard. I don't know why we don't just ban him.
The Ropz, I don't know if he's not cheating, but see after a while how he is.
There was a joke about he always checks his second monitor. People thought he was maybe wall hacking or using some kind of ghosting, whatever it might be.
Everyone was saying that he was using a second monitor to look at stream or something. He had like a set up a camera behind him, I think, where he showed behind him, so everyone would know that he's not cheating. So that was one of the first videos I saw of him.
I think what stood out to me was obviously like these cheating allegations, you know, that people were mentioning back then.
Everybody thought he was cheating, even me at some point maybe, I don't know, you know.
Well, the FPL story is funny and sad at the same time. I guess I'm just better if I'm being called a cheater. But at the same time, these are the people I'm looking up to. If you see icons calling you a cheater, it's like, it was demoralizing. Like,
I don't think he was cheating, but I kind of was just riding the wave, you know, everybody was saying it. I was like, probably cheating, you know.
I had death threats back then when I was 17 playing PUBG. So I flew out to London where FaZe had their headquarters at the time to prove I'm not cheating. My mother thought I was getting kidnapped. My mom didn't realize I have this massive talent for CS. Obviously she has no clue about CS, so I was there for like 2 to 3 days. I just played PUBG from their office. They provide the setup, so I can't use my own peripherals because people think, well, maybe I planted something in them to cheat or whatever. I mean, I just played. There was definitely pressure, but I've seen people write, I played even better in the FaZe HQ than I did at home. It just went really well, and pros who I played against, they apologized for sure.
When he played in the FaZe office and he still did the same thing in FPL, it was like, all right, it's legit.
You don't want to go down as the guy who plays online, gets called a cheater, and then never comes to a team. So like, I felt I was really forced to join a team. Luckily, it wasn't for long. 3 to 4 months of playing in FPL, and I got an opportunity to play for MOUZ.
Ropz' new challenge wasn't just competing to become the best team in the world, but to do it all while still in school.
I don't want to call myself like a smartass or anything. I was expected to finish my high school with all A's or like a gold medal. So I had very high expectations from like the school side, but you know, at the same time I was competing already on a high level. I could go to school, finish school from like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then like from 5 to 10 or even 11 we would just practice. It was an interesting time where like in theory I had like 2 full-time jobs. I mean, I was getting destroyed by that, like mentally, physically, like everything was okay for me in school, everything was going good, and then like I was expected to become the best team in the world as well at the other part. So actually, fun fact, the first year of me competing in MOUZ, I was playing on data from my phone. I was playing Pro CS on 4G. I was actually streaming on that data as well. I mean, I had to make it work. What can you say? I mean, mobile data is pretty damn good in my country. The moment when I did think CS was gonna be my job was when I dropped out. I had to sit down in my school and they were really sad, but they kind of understood why I have to leave. I have pretty good contact with them, and my math teacher watches my games to this day for sure. I went to my first tournament. I had to like borrow a piece of luggage from someone to even travel because I had like never traveled seriously before. And then meeting these strangers who are actually your teammates. It was good that I was young because I mean, when you're young, I think you pick up things really fast and you get used to these new environments. So it was nice to be that young in that sense. Yeah, it paved the way for future players as well.
And he made it from FPL to Tier 1 teammate. He gave me more motivation, you know. Then I started playing some FaZe. I saw that he made it to MOUZ from playing in FPL. So I was like, if he can do it, why can I not do it? And then it happened. And now we play in the same team.
My first big crowd was the E-League major in Boston. Is it the depressing one for FaZe Clan?
It was really annoying to play against him. You never knew where he was, what time he was, but he was hard to push. You could see his mechanical skill was something out of this world.
He was just like killing 2 or 3 guys, and I was like, what's happening here, guys?
Has to be ready for it. He's looked away. Sonny's made movement. Sonny's made movement, and that gives Ropz the answer. Oh! He's going in, and he's found Nico as well. That is so well done.
I don't think I'll ever forget the feeling playing on that stage in my first one, you know? So the most important memory I have deep in my heart is it was 2018 in New York. I had my mom there and my grandmother, my aunt. And when I joined MOUZ and I got into pro scene, she didn't think like esports was real. Being in a stadium with like thousands of people and just winning there, that's gonna be memorized in my head forever.
Ropz had transformed his reputation from accused cheater to worldwide competitor. Then he met Karrigan, the leader who unlocked his true potential.
Karrigan, I mean, I can say confidently was my first actual leader. I think he brought a lot of confidence to the team in general and as an individual for me as well.
I remember the first few months, there was the kind of eternal fight who works harder in the team, me or Ropz. I think we had such a professional relationship from the beginning. When it comes to respecting each other, it's a perfect balance between a lurk and a caller.
I think Karrigan has praised him a lot throughout the times we've talked to each other as well. He's praised him as a teammate and as a player and how hard he works.
In the game, we respect each other so highly. That's why we work so good together, or have been working so good together.
Yes, just such an incredible player, and in my opinion he developed slow but just became a monster, you know?
Whatever he says, like, it comes with experience, it comes with a lot of tinkering over the years, perfecting what he has done. When he left there, I knew we're not gonna get a better leader. Having a person like Karrigan step down is gonna hurt the team, no matter what.
I clearly said to FaZe and Ropz, it has nothing to do with them, and if there's a day, any day, that I can bring you guys with me to FaZe, I would do it.
My dream would be to play with Ropz, and I would also say he was one of the big part of why it was hard to leave MOUZ. I have really good working relationship with Ropz. We really evolved together, we really respect it a lot because we really work hard both, you know?
Ropz would eventually follow in Karrigan's footsteps and join FaZe Clan. But this story with FaZe began years ago, before the FPL, on an Xbox 360.
Everyone knows there was a time period of when 1.6 kind of faded. So I got into different games. I got hooked up on Xbox. That's how everyone gets into, FaZe. I was into Call of Duty. Black Ops 2 was the golden era back then. Started watching FaZe, started sniping a bit. I had my own YouTube channel going at one point. Someone was the revolutionary who made comms, and I got really into that. The FaZe 5 thing, I did like a whole Road to Eclipse series.
Third place, we've got Ropz, and he's on Vertigo, and he just pounds attack, then gets a no-scope triple headshot. Sees all three of them, bang, gets a triple headshot. They weren't even like lined up completely. That was awesome, Ropz.
Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is FaZe Temper, and I'm here with FaZe Banks, and we have a very special announcement. Today is April 20th, 2014, and it marks the start of our second annual FaZe 5 Recruitment Challenge.
Hello, my dudes. I am Ropz, and this is my FaZe 5 Recruitment Challenge response. Why do I want to be a part of FaZe Clan? Well, the answer is pretty obvious. Like, FaZe is the biggest team around this, and it's obviously everyone's dream to be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, my voice hadn't even
You haven't hit puberty.
Yeah, I haven't hit puberty. Our buddy Rain here, who actually went to the New York house. Can't believe he's actually gone there. For me, where I grew up watching all the content creators, and I'm playing with a guy who's playing CS, but for some reason he's been to the New York house. Is like unbelievable. I've seen comments, it's like, imagine he joins FaZe, but not for sniping, but for CS. And then CSGO became big again in 2015, 16. And that's when I got back into CSGO, and the whole FPL story comes around, and almost 10 years later, like, you're actually part of FaZe, but not for Call of Duty, but for CS, so.
Now, Ropz has joined FaZe Clan. They're replacing Olofmeister with Ropz. This is a slam dunk. You do this move 100 times out of 100 times, boys.
When Ropz came, I already had a picture in my head. Players playing there, the personality fit with that. They can play good together.
I had not been part of a #1 team, so I think that was also a goal I had coming into FaZe, becoming the best team and, staying there. And one of the first tournaments was Katowice 2022. Me catching COVID, Rain catching COVID, JKS as stand-in. It goes without saying, the ace I did versus G2 in Katowice, it can't be a higher pressure situation. It's the play of my career.
The way he moves and isolates duels, this comes down to insane movement and him knowing exactly how much to press on the keyboard.
That's crumbling as well. Ropz is in a huge amount of trouble. He's going to try and take matters into his own hands. Couldn't find the second shot fast enough, but Jax, he drops in. Oh, talk about a custodian. Talk about a superstar. Talk about the elite. Ropz is on a rope, and we're going to overtime, baby.
That round he won by his movement skills as much as he won it by with his aim, and I think that's very unique.
It was the best scenario we could have, is winning 3-0, and I think, having that play helped us do that. It's definitely the highlight of my career for sure. Yeah, I mean, we were riding a high. From that, we won EPL. Then we won the major, I believe, was after EPL. We had an inside joke, I guess, of being undefeated since I joined. We were kind of undefeated in the actual tournaments. We had a really good track record. The undefeated thing went on until the major, I would say. I think it was Lisbon or something, where we had pretty rough tournaments and we lost to Navi. Cologne was the last event for the first season of 2022. It was a tough one. It was between us and Navi. The grand final ended up being exactly that, and I think the players, the viewers, the fans, everyone was satisfied to get that final to kind of decide on who was the best.
And another impossible clutch. 3 members of FaZe, they won't let this go. They will not go quietly. All of the rounds, all of the maps, and FaZe Clan complete the triple.
We ended up winning it in a very close match. People say it was one of the best matches I've ever seen, and it was Cologne. Cologne is like one of the most hyped events. That's where the first season for us ended, and yeah, we had won 4 tournaments: Cato, EPL, Major, and Cologne. The 3 tournaments we did win, no one had done it actually before, but we were missing a win for the Grand Slam, and we were chasing it for a long time. And we had a rough patch at one point. We're like, are we gonna do it? People were questioning us if we're gonna do it.
They might have finally caught this elusive trophy that they've been chasing to find the Intel Grand Slam. Rain! Wow. The hammer's been slammed down by Thor himself. Left up in this one, but they can't find a thing! FaZe Clan doing it for! They pick up the trophy, and it just all starts to break down. They realize they've done it.
We finally did it, and that was also extremely satisfying. A lot of pressure, a lot of stress. When you did that, you got relieved of everything, and you felt like you were in heaven.
And the winners of the Intel Grand Slam!
My mindset when CS2 released was extremely positive. No one wanted to really go to CS2 when CSGO was at its peak there. I think I was one of the players in CSGO who had already adapted to having grenades thrown from when you spawn in the round. So CS2 adapted that to every map, and as I said, I think it's one of my strong skills to fighting smokes and grenades, and I've kind of shaped the meta definitely in the way CS2 first started to play out.
When CS2 came out, I was finding so many new things.
With CS2, I brought a lot of new grenades to the table. You look for certain things, you don't find anything. The other time you find something. So it goes both ways. Sometimes you waste a lot of hours. Sometimes you find something golden. You never know.
I don't know so much, right? So every time I was talking, like listening to, like I'm in school and trying to understand what's happening in the game. So he obviously tried to really push for updates, where try to improve this and that, and send it to Valve to kind of like give them an idea of how the game feels, and they didn't always listen, but I just feel sad for him.
I kept telling my team, obviously it's gonna suck, but like everyone has to realize like this is like a historic moment. Try to make the most out of it. The game took different turns at some point. One of the biggest things for CS2 in the beginning was like the peekage advantage, like how normal CS just hold angles, but in CS2 it was impossible to hold angles in the start. Everyone was talking about it, and everyone was like, well, yeah, just go wide swing everyone, and that's how you win aim duels nowadays in CS2. And I mean, I think that kind of opinion changed how people play.
Ropz is going to go looking for this and takes one of the dome. Ropz now wounded. Snappy all the way through middle, played it late, and Ropz is going to deal with him.
Ropz, too much on his plate. I say that with a quick click, he makes it a 1v2. Still not planting, not in a hurry. Oh, and it's costing them! Does it really cost them everything? Not like this to start. Halzag, the pressure rises, no armor on him. The flash, the ping.
With the release of CS2, Ropz has continued to grow as a player, but a part of his journey of growth included overcoming his first major slump.
I don't think I've ever had like a big hurdle to get over. It's just many small things. It's like
when I think back, maybe when it's been in the slumps, because you are gonna have slumps, and I think that the last slump he has now, I've never seen Ropz been in a slump that long.
I think it can affect him when he sees threads and all this stuff about him 24/7. I think when he gets past it, I think he's gonna grow as a player and as a person, and a new version of Ropz on the server, I think.
When I played for so many years, I haven't seen anything he couldn't overcome, and this slump was like, I was thinking, damn, how does he overcome this? Because we can beat as a team, making sure everything is fine, right? But in the end, it's the player that has to overcome his own slump. As a player, it's really hard to deal with it, and I think he learned a lot maybe from this year.
You just never know when it's gonna end. You have to play it out and see how it goes, and you have to take the maximum from every moment, every situation. Actually, the first time I seriously got to realize what we did is the moment we started losing the finals this year. That's the moment like you're losing out on it. You're not winning that trophy again, and then you realize that you really miss on winning, you really miss on doing it in the most important moments, at the most prestigious tournaments, and you're just missing out this year and comparing to the last 2 years. That's one of the hardest things to do, once you reach the top, the next step is that you have to figure out how to stay there.
While every pro grows through different experiences, Ropz evolved by discovering that a controlled environment was key to breaking free from his mental slump.
The only thing that affects my confidence is how I feel when I play inside the game. When I feel like I can win an aim duel against anyone, that's when I feel confident. And sometimes I feel like something is off, like I'm not maybe sitting right. You don't feel confident, so it's like physical things that can affect how I play the game and how it limits my performance. If I have the optimal setup, I'm confident as ever.
Right now he comes off a really hard slump. Even though he had past months have been really rough, he's coming on back in a star performance in his role. So that I think is really good to see that he can also survive that.
As Ropz enters his prime competitive years, fans eagerly await the next chapter for this trailblazer.
So far in CS, I've definitely accomplished all the goals that I've set before. I'm never going to say all my goals because I think you always want to have a new one. It does get harder and harder once you get past certain stuff. Now you got to do it just all over again. Playing just to play is never going to work out. You need to have the passion and the fire to accomplish it. You just have to set new goals, and my biggest goal would be to win a CS2 major. It is a new game, and that's the one thing I'm striving for right now.
Sky is the limit, and at the end of the day, it is only in our hands.
One thing I will say, Robin, get your diet into check, If You know, you're still young, but once you get a little bit older, you need to eat something else and chips and Coke here and there, you know, or McDonald's, you know. Yeah, he can win almost everything one more time if he wants to.
I think he is gonna end his career at some point being one of the best lurks ever had in the game. He's still young enough. He's sitting at peak years now, where with all the experience of, like I said, Slump, winning tournaments, losing tournaments, he can become a very legendary player of the game.
I haven't lost my love for the game. I don't think that's ever gonna happen. I mean, we as CS players, like, we have played this game for like at least the same amount of time like you sleep in your life. At this point, I don't think it's possible to lose the love for this game. Getting to compete, playing against the best, that's what like motivates me and drives me to play each day. I want to be remembered as having an impact on the development of the scene, the game, the players itself, have an impact on everything.
And from all of us at FaZe Clan, we all wish you the brightest future.